Championship. And we mentioned we're here in Strokers, at Strokers, Palm Harbor, Florida, just across the Tampa Bay, in the downtown Tampa area. Not sure what the delay is here with the ladies. Our producer's going to go find that out. Saw a pretty interesting opening here, Jeremy. We had our defending champ, Lisa Cosette. She looked strong in that first round. 5-1 win for her, getting off to on the right foot.
Yeah, 2 impressive shots on the 9 in that match, and the one to end the match in the side pocket. She looked very comfortable.
Absolutely, looked very comfortable, very confident.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about it in the first match that these ladies know each other, a lot of them do, and they know their strengths along with their own strengths. So if you're an 8-ball player, you know, with 8-ball only having 3 out of the possible 9 games played in these matches, you probably want to get that in.
Yeah.
But, you want to make sure your strong suit's involved.
I was looking at Khan's bio. Like the rest of them, she says 8-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball. She loves them all, so no real indicator there. But Teresa will have the break. Khan has opted to start in the 8-ball set. So we will see for the first time since we started, because we didn't get that far in the last match. We'll see some 8-ball. Like Jeremy said, 3 games of 8-ball, potentially up to 6 games of 9-ball, race to 5.
So probably looking at a safety to start here because not much offensively to work with. So she probably just chipped the 14 up the rail towards the 1 and bring the cue ball kind of, oh, she went for the bank.
Okay. A few technical.
Coming from San Francisco. I know there's a few from Canada.
Yeah.
Ontario and Newfoundland. I think there's some from there. And
33 states represented, 2 Canadian provinces.
oh, the poor lady, she's going to make a mistake here and foul, not realizing that she's solid. She's shooting at a stripe, it looks like, and that's gonna cost her. I think Teresa's inquiring now that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that can happen too at the beginning of the tournament. You know, you kind of get focused on one thing or another, and you just it kind of slips your mind a little bit. Not something that's probably going to happen for another few years to Miss No, but
yeah, not a mistake she'll make again. But for now, Teresa will have ball in hand.
Yeah, and if she can get this cluster open, that being the 11 and the 5 and the 2 and all that, and shake that 11 free. Now, I'd like to give myself a little more angle on the cue ball, on the shot. That way you generate a little more cue ball speed when opening these balls. Oh, that's perfect, actually. Wow, perfect breakout. It's kind of a la Steve Miserak right there with the break shot. Just perfect, actually. And she can tap the 11 in, hold for the 13 in the side, and then have the 9 in the corner up by the 3. So a good opportunity to get on the board here. What would be a pretty convincing win in the opening rack. Now Teresa, I've known her a long time, her and her boyfriend Ernesto, who's a former champion of the U.S. Amateur. Some 5 or 6 years ago, something like that, he won it.
Ernesto's a great player. We see him out in Vegas quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a super talented individual. Known him, like I said, a long time. Played a lot of golf with him, a lot of pool with him, and just one of those guys that understands what's going on, and I'm sure he helps Teresa as much as possible. He even says in the bio that Ernesto is
it's her #1 influence. He has taught me so much, so that's nice.
Yeah,
always nice when a couple can share a love for the game. You know,
absolutely. And you hear about it that you wouldn't say divorce, but Scotch doubles has caused a lot of marital problems when it comes to coaching and pool. But yeah, my wife, she plays as well, so we have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, she doesn't get to play quite as much as she would like, I guess. But I'll tell you, this lady right here, Teresa, she's always played pretty well, but just in the last, I think, probably 3 years, she's really upped her game. Don't get to see her quite as often as I used to, but and a good solid out there.
Teresa pockets that 8 in the corner. She is on the board first, leads 1-0 in a race to 5. Again, this is live coverage of the Women's U.S. Amateur Championship just got started this morning. We're going to play all through the day today and then all day tomorrow. Final round tomorrow, I think, set for 7 p.m. The guys will start coming in to Strokers in the next day and a half. I'm sure we'll see most of them tomorrow evening registering.
Yeah, some are here already. I met quite a few last night. The guys that, I want to come here early, get comfortable.
Get some play in on the tables, yeah.
Take advantage of the week as a little bit of a vacation, a pool vacation.
That's true, too.
Well.
Yeah, we are in kind of a pool paradise, if you will, down here with the weather and the water and all the nice things that Florida has to offer. One of the big draws for participating in the U.S. Amateur Championship. Get that scoreboard updated. Yep, Teresa now leading 1-0.
And interesting that Teresa kind of, they're only playing 3 games of 8-ball here, and Con, she
chose 8-ball.
She chose 8-ball, so really, and probably in her mind, she needs to probably get, if she chose the 8-ball, and of course, if she's here in the tournament, she can certainly win playing the 9-ball, but probably felt like she was a little favorite in the 8-ball, so probably wanting to get these next 2 games.
Yep. No doubt. Of course, we didn't see much of her there. She shot that wrong ball in,
and she made
it.
She hit it great. I mean, it wasn't anything wrong with it.
Good shot, just wasn't her object ball.
Exactly. So second ball break here used. A second ball break, a lot of times without knowing the table, or if like you're someone that doesn't break the balls quite as well with force, a second ball break really offers making balls a little bit more often, and it also, if you don't make balls, it offers a little more protection, meaning offers a little more clusters and stuff, so difficult for your opponent to run out behind you if you dry break.
You ever play any kind of format like this combination 8-ball and 9-ball within a match? You ever done anything like that?
Well, not in a tournament. I was telling somebody earlier that there's a group of guys back home that are friends of mine that I actually teach as well, the entire team, and I kind of sub for them in a Masters league that's a combination of the 10. It's actually 10-ball because it's Masters 10-ball and 8-ball. And I liked it. I thought it's a pretty fun format. Yeah, the variety. I always like that.
The multi-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is Teresa Garland at the table chalking her cue. Teresa's out of Houston. She plays out of Big Time Billiards. She also mentioned Jerry Olivier, Custom Cues, Brutal Game Gear, and James Handshoe.
Yeah, Handshoe Custom.
Jump cue maker, right?
Yeah, one of the best, and makes a. Actually, that's what I have is a Handshoe jump cue as well. Many players use them. There's so many great jump cues out there these days. The equipment's just really come a long ways. So a couple opening misses there, but you could see what Teresa was trying to do there to get that lonely 6-ball open. And if she could have done that and made the ball, the solids look pretty nice. Now, Con, she's got not that great of a shot at a solid, maybe the 3-ball up in the corner, and not a real good play on the stripes at all. So she may just have to shoot solids, which are very runnable. Okay, hit that one in with a little more authority. I like to see that. So she's going to leave the 1-ball, trying to keep that one stripe up there covered up and try and run these off down here and probably leave the one for last maybe. You can tell, pretty straight shooter, not only with a unfortunate, shooting at the wrong ball last game, but she made one heck of a shot, and then she's made 2 really nice ones here to start her run in the second game. So probably slide over for the 6 on the opposite side. Oh, okay, she came back for the 5. And that's one thing you got to give us a little latitude is pretty good. The cameras are always pretty good, but not quite what the players see. They see all the little differences in angles.
This is Con's first time playing in our U.S. Amateur Championship. Just kind of looking over her bio, getting to know her. Looks like she plays in some leagues. First time she played was in a college rec room. Friend got her to join a league, so we hear that quite a bit. Plays with a Tiger Q. She mentioned Family Billiards in San Francisco.
Yeah, been there a long time, I believe.
And the West Coast Women's Tour. So probably some folks back at Family Billiards tuning in, watching Khan in her first U.S. Amateur Championship appearance.
Well, I'll tell you what, she shoots them in pretty straight.
Yeah.
That was a nice little stun shot over to get on that 7 for really the only corner available. So big shot to roll this in. She'll probably bump the 9 a little bit, so want to move that out of the way so it doesn't oh, what an unfortunate scratch off the 9. Just slivered the 9 ball.
Well on her way to that run out too.
Yeah.
Well, Teresa will have ball in hand. With
So,
just her object balls and the 8 ball on the table.
Yeah, and the one problem is the 10, so it doesn't pass the 1. So you probably want to shoot that off with ball in hand. Probably in the upper left-hand corner. Just kind of stop your ball and have the 14 in the side to get the run started. Everything pretty open, though. One thing she'll have to do, though, Jason, is she'll have to clear this 12 ball at one time or another to open up the pocket for the 9.
I just realized that is the 1 ball, so Khan does still have 1 object ball on the table, but
yeah, so I think it should be something like 14-11 on that side rail there. And then come back out for the 12 in the center of the table. Come to the center of the table with the cue ball. That way you can shoot the 12 and open up that lane for the 9 later on. Then you got the 2 stripes down below after the 12, and then you'll swing the cue ball back for the 9 most likely. This shot right here will tell us which route she's going, and that should be the route. Yeah, a little light with the cue ball, but should be okay. And these ladies are, they prepared, obviously. They've qualified some six weeks ago.
Yeah, mid-September, yeah.
6-8 weeks ago. So they come here prepared, but still that first match, Jason, you can kind of shake off some jitters.
Yeah. Getting used to the table, the environment.
Okay, so real handy with the cue ball here. Now myself with this angle on the 13, I think I go ahead and come up for the 9 now. It lays naturally to just come 1 rail straight up. And then if you don't quite get there, you still always have the 15. She could play at 13, 15, and then, just a little quick with the stroke there. So a little nerves.
That'll bring Khan back to the table.
And we'll see what type of cue ball movement she can get off this 1 ball. One thing we've seen already early in the second game is she doesn't mind pocketing a long shot on. She's already knocked a couple in. Oh, real nice cue ball there.
See her point at that opposite corner. Sets her sights on the 8 ball.
Should just be a light speed rolling this in, especially a little stretched.
Pockets the 8 ball. Khan is now on the board. We're tied 1-1. A race to 5. We will see 1 more game of 8 ball before the ladies switch to 9 ball. I like that response from Khan. She obviously had a little bit of the mental mistake in that first game, but didn't let it slow her down in the next. And now she's on the board, and we'll look to close out strong here in the 8 ball set. She'll have the break. Again, this is winner break.
And it depends on what type of player you are. Some people, the physical mistake can really bother them, but some, the mental mistake.
Sure.
And making, it's almost like they're both, I guess the embarrassment factor might be a little something in there. And but it's understandable. It happens. And you can see a view of the room. And so very impressed with the tables here. Keep them in really good shape.
Jose Del Rio, the owner here at Strokers, where we've now been hosting this event for over 10 years. It's such a great environment for the players. I talk to a lot of them, those that don't do as well as they like. They're able to go out and then enjoy kind of the nice things like we talked about that the area has to offer, whether it's the beach or the fishing or just the warm weather.
Food, everything.
Yeah, so much to do here. So
And you got your Buccaneers if you're a real die-hard football fan. I guess. Although they played pretty well this past week.
I got their kicker in fantasy football.
Oh, did he serve you well?
I think he did all right. He's got a big leg.
Yeah.
Big leg. Can kick some long field goals. So.
Well, Seattle's amazing. I've never seen a team that can trail 2-3 touchdowns every week and come back.
Good.
Yeah. Second half team for sure. So she's made a solid on the break. So she'll want to get a starter here, probably on the 5-3 combination in the side. She's got a 2-ball. She's got a 5-ball she could shoot at. Or is that the 13 maybe? Maybe that might be the 13 near the 2.
Yeah, the way we're kind of set up here at Strokers, we're not actually seeing the table live. We're in the back of the room behind a big backdrop, so we do have to rely on the cameras. And sometimes that ball color gets a little thrown off there with the lights. And
it's pretty good overall. Well, that's the 5 near the 3, so. Okay, nice shot there and good control. Now, if she got on that 6-ball, she'll want to take care of that. That's the problem in the rack. I believe it does go by the 10. That should open up the 1. Now, the one thing is she'll be stretched. She's got to be conscious of getting shape here, though, because unless she draws the ball, if she just goes forward, she may not end up with much of a shot besides a bank on the 7. We'll see. Oh, she hit it great and really nice control to open the 1. So I think you can already tell why she picked 8-ball.
Yep.
Pretty solid pattern so far. Good thought process. And so 8-ball's an options game. So you want to come up for position on options here. Maybe the 5 up in the upper corner. Okay, she's immediately going to the 7. Oh, excuse me, that's the 13 again anyways. Okay, so instead of the 5. Wow, nice shot with the bridge.
Yeah, makes good use of the bridge once again.
And she immediately, to me, looks pretty comfortable.
Two in the corner.
Okay, so a big shot here on the 5-ball. And it's the last ball. I think the 8 may go by the 14. Definitely goes by the 11 in the corner, so maybe both corners available. But you can't take your eye off the prize here. It's all about knocking this 5-ball in first. She overcut it. Wasn't easy. And I don't think she left Teresa very easy at all. She's got a cut back on the 11. Don't think the 13 goes by the 14 at all. And the 13's kind of got her blocked on the 14 and whatnot, so.
It's the 1-ball up here?
That's the 9.
9-ball,
yeah,
okay.
That's the 9. So.
Kind of the challenge with the 1 and the 9 with that light on it.
Yeah, and I think she's going to probably end up playing a safety here. Just because really hard to run out in this situation with the 9 being, lodged on that side rail and the 5 blocking the pocket. Well, she's looking at maybe banking the 9.
If you're just tuning in, you're seeing live coverage of the Women's U.S. Amateur Championship. 42 ladies, some of the top amateur players from across North America here at Strokers in Palm Harbor. Teresa Garland from Houston currently at the table.
You got to watch out for the scratch. Okay, nice control with the cue ball there. And I'm not sure she's left any type of even kick shot. Jump shot's not real playable.
Somebody asked if there's ever been a fist fight in the history of this tournament. To my knowledge, no. Typically what we see in this particular tournament is some really great sportsmanship. We mentioned in the last match. There is no actual prize money here, which makes this event very unique. They are playing for a title, obviously a trophy, and of course they move on to a pro event next year. But again, I think you know, the sportsmanship you see typically at this event is kind of some of the highest caliber, at least that I see in tournaments, right? Most of these players have very much of a passion for the game. So no fist fights.
Yeah, this is a difficult jump shot because you can see the one, or excuse me, the 9's a little in the way of the 5. I think she's got an outer piece of the 5 to jump at, but pretty slim margin on the hit, on the making a good hit.
She fails to contact her object ball first, so that's a foul. Teresa will have ball in hand.
We'll see immediately how aggressive Teresa wants to be here. If, you know, she could take ball in hand and play the 9 all the way down the rail by the 12. Difficult, though.
And be able to find coverage of this year's Women's U.S. Amateur Championship next couple days here on our Facebook page. We also have 2 other matches being simulcast on our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/APA Leagues. You can also go to poolplayers.com/live and find those matches.
Okay, what a great shot that was, trying to remove the 9 from trouble and trying to develop a pocket for the 9. And I think she may have done that. It's real close. Now the one thing is, if she doesn't have a pocket on the 9, the safety has become a little tougher. But she may go for the cut here. And if she misses it, hoping to block the pocket up with the 9 to where the 5 doesn't play. Thin hit here on the 9, though. Okay, great shot. Okay, gonna need a little help from the cue ball. Okay, she's fine. She's got a shot at the 12 off the side rail. Now she's lefty, so this is gonna be a stretch. We'll see if she chooses to take the bridge or use the right hand.
There's the bridge. Jeremy, you got a shout out from the Band of Brothers in North Texas.
Those are the guys I was telling you about that I sub for the
league
there
you
team.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good bunch of guys. They play. They were at the APA this year in August.
Of course, that's our big world championships that we do each year at the Westgate.
Real confident strike there with the bridge. So kind of from here, you can tell the lonely ball on the table for Teresa is that 11 on the side rail, a little bit on the left, not really too near it. So that's what she'll have to get at as far as any type of problem. And it's not a huge problem or anything, but something you got to be aware of. So it should be the 15, then probably the 14 or something like that, and then that being the 10 or the 12 that's near that lower left corner. Okay, so again, kind of stretched on the 14. So choice, if she wants to knock in the other stripe, the 10, and then shoot the 11 and then the 14, that's okay. She'd like to take the 14 away right now. It's not really doing her much good to wait on it. So if she can hold her ball here for the 10 and then the 11 up in the upper corner, should be able to clear this third rack.
Had a question here about the tournament and when it might move away from a pool hall. I don't know that we have any immediate plans for that. We talked about that a little bit earlier. One of the challenges with a tournament like this is the 9-foot tables. Always a lot easier to secure 7-foot tables. They're obviously much more mobile. 9-foot tables a little more challenging to bring in. So there are some challenging dynamics that would have to be figured out in that regard. Funding, the most of the biggest of those challenges. So I think that person had mentioned the U.S. Open is, of course, that it can be done, but I think the entry fee for U.S. Open is $1,000 per player, $256. So that funding is there to make that happen. A little more challenging with, I think our entry fee for this is maybe $100. So.
Okay, great shot there.
Meanwhile, Teresa Garland looking to pull back ahead here in this race to 5.
And getting it done because, you know, I'm not around her all the time to see her play, but I know Teresa for a long time, and I think she's a little nervous right now in her first match, and that's very understandable, but really kind of getting through it, and that's important. I always talk about it. I think there's prepared nerves and there's unprepared nerves. You know, if you've been practicing or whatnot, I think nerves can be a very good thing for you at times, make you really strive and do amazing things. And then again, if you're on the other end of that, you haven't been practicing or whatever, they can really get the best of you. Okay, so a medium tough shot on the side, and she's kind of got to roll it. That way she doesn't go towards that corner with the cue ball, that being the upper left corner. It's going to be close. Oh, great shot.
Strong start there for Teresa. She now leads 2-1. Ladies will now switch to the 9-ball rack, or the 9-ball set.
Now with these ladies and the amateurs, you know, you think there's much psychological play as far as, you know, Con lost 2 out of 3 of a game she chose.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think that's got to be a bit of a frustration there. Of course, we mentioned at the outset our friends at PoolDog.com, and they've got a nice offer on a low deflection shaft. If you're interested in one of those, they've got a nice deal. I know the low deflection shaft sometimes can be on the higher end in terms of dollars, but if you're looking to get into one and try one for the first time, you can go to their website. A nice offer, $134 for their Summit Pro low deflection shaft. I know that comes with a nice Kamui clear soft tip, and they've got a 60-day guarantee, so you can try that cue out or that shaft out with your cue, and if it works for you, great. If not, you can send it back and get your money back. Friends at PoolDog.com helping us to bring you all the streaming coverage from our tournaments throughout the year. Of course, if you're interested in playing in this event next year, the entry window is now open where you can sign up. You play in a preliminary round that's held in about mid-September, and the top players advance here to the Tampa area to compete in the championship rounds for their place in billiard history.
Yeah, the Band of Brothers guys you were talking about, many of those guys tried qualifying for this event.
It's a tough event, especially depending on the preliminary that you play out of. I mean, there are some where you just get a stack of guys that have been here previously. I know, like, the Alabama preliminary is one of the tougher ones because we've had so many former champs that have come out of that area.
Now these ladies using the template rack and the 9-ball. Nice spread here with a nice opening break from Teresa.
What do you think of the template rack, out of curiosity?
Well, you know, I mean, of course the perfect rack is great. I don't think any of us realize how devastating it can be at a pro level.
Yeah, because I mean, once it's consistent, like you can hit it consistent and make things happen consistent, and it kind of takes away some of the element of.
Yeah, it wasn't a game I don't think designed to be very much the same every time.
Right.
You know, especially when it comes to the break, it's supposed to be a little bit more random, and not so much. You know, what balls you're making. You know, you can figure out how to make balls or you change places or whatnot, but just layouts are repeated a lot. One thing at the pro level that I don't see, just like here for Teresa, you don't see clusters very often. So, you know, you don't see some of the beauty of the game that's really there, or how good some of those pro players are at being able to handle situations that, you know, they just don't come up with the template rack very often. But, you know, it's got its place. I think there's a combination of a template rack in our future that's not going to make it so easy, but make it very consistent at the same time.
Okay.
So.
That's a very level response, right, on both ends. Like,
well, you know, how can anybody really argue about a perfect rack?
Yeah.
But then
you're right, though. You want some elements of surprise in any sport. I mean, you know, in football or baseball, you got wind and you've got
absolute elements,
moisture.
Yeah, for sure.
You have different things, and
Yeah, and the one beauty of our game is how much different it is every time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the biggest attraction to our game, and I think the templates sometimes at times can take away from that a little bit. So. Okay, so what's probably going to be a safety? I think the bank cross side may go by the 5. It's real close, but it's one thing about the ladies, right? You always want to win, and you know, I don't want to take this any kind of wrong way at all, but the ladies actually become better safety players quicker than most of the men players because, you know, when you're competing, you want to win, right? So until you learn the aggressive side of it, you're going to learn the passive side of it, which is the safety part of the game.
Right.
And I've known a lot of ladies that are really, really sharp when it comes to safeties.
Safety play, yeah.
Exactly. The tactical side of the game.
And this is Con No at the table. Con out of San Francisco. Plays out of Family Billiards back there.
And I think if it's the same place, I'd been there years and years ago. But you can tell immediately from the long shot she's made in her stroke that she does not mind the 9-foot table.
Nope. Mentioned earlier, this is Con's first time competing in the U.S. Amateur Championship.
Okay, she's going to draw this around the 9, I believe, and back up. Okay, so just barely a miss on the side pocket, giving up a pretty good shot on the 4. Now, Teresa, one of only a few women that are here from Texas, which is very surprising to me. I'm not sure how many qualifiers were there, but a lot of strong ladies come from Texas, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so a little upset, a little light with the cue ball there. So she's going to be elevated over the 9, and don't think the 5 passes the 7, so she may have to go to what would be her upper right corner pocket.
Our good friend and broadcast partner, Ava Lawrence, tuning in. Hi, Ava.
Oh.
Good to hear from you. Of course, Ava joins us at all of our Vegas championships with the commentary. Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, what a great, not only great player, but just really a refreshing person to be around.
Awesome person.
Yeah.
Neat lady. Man, she's got so many,
both,
so many introductory titles. She's got Striking Viking, Hall of Famer, and she's, we've seen her all over ESPN doing commentary. She was on New York Times Magazine as on the cover.
Yes,
she's a neat lady.
Incredible journey she had through the pool world, and still doing it. Okay, another great shot. So I can see, maybe give the edge just, again, without totally knowing, to Teresa when it comes to tactical shots and maybe a little position play, but straight shooter right here with Con No.
Some folks asking about players from different states. If you go to CompuSport.us, that's where you can find the bracket. You can kind of see where everybody's from. I know we've got 33 states represented. How many from each, I don't know offhand.
Right.
But go check out the bracket and see how your favorite player's doing. Again, that's CompuSport.us. You can find a link to that on our website, poolplayers.com.
Okay, I wonder if she's worried about the scratch. And this type of shot can fool you. She really does need to go with top English, but I think bottom English is not going to get her position that she wanted on the 9. But you recognize it's really hard to scratch on this shot in that corner if you make the 7. Okay, wow, what a great shot. Watch out. Oh, my.
Ouch.
So we saw a little of that unfortunate misfortune, in the first match with Lonnie, I guess it was, and
I feel
Lisa
like
taking full advantage. Man,
Con's been on point. She's just had like 3 or 4 mistakes, but they've been really costly ones, and this is going to be another one, unfortunately.
Yeah, and she's had a realm of them with the shooting the wrong ball in the first game, which was just a mental a mental hiccup. And,
yeah.
But she's hitting the ball nice.
She's got the look of a player that could just dominate. But,
right.
man, it seems like set. And one of the unique things about the U.S. Amateur Championship is the combination of the 8-ball and 9-ball. The ladies started in that.
Braille, but most likely not want to take a chance of giving up ball in hand when you can push out here. And talk about a push out, that's the shot after the break where either the breaker, if they made a ball in the break, or the incoming player has a chance to roll the cue ball out wherever they want, with the incoming player having the option of taking the shot or passing it back. That's only allowed the first shot after the break. Now that's another rule that I eventually think that we're going to go to no rollout. I think even at a pro level, I think it's going to be a better way to play.
Yeah, you only see it in APA in our Masters format, and then here at the U.S. Amateur Championship where, you try to mimic some of the pro rules, the jump cue allowed, but in standard league play, the push out. That's what you're saying, roll out, push out, same thing.
Yeah. Oh, pretty smart play right here. I think she's got a piece of the one, but I like the effort there by Khan.
Got to be challenging for a guy like you. I mean, you constantly have to go to different tournaments and learn different rules. I mean, regardless if you're playing or you're commentating, because everything's a little different, right? You got to. That's like on the way over. Jeremy was, very interested in the rules, and the more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, because every time you go somewhere, it's got probably a little bit different.
Yeah, and there's been so much more of that in the last 10 or 15 years. Is you got to appreciate though a great shot, great long shot there, and just lost the cue ball in the corner. But again, that's the type of stuff that, if you really recognize what's going on, like for Teresa right there, she hit the ball well. So take the positive sides from those types of shots, and of course, recognize you made a mistake with the cue ball, but don't let it knock your confidence down if you're one of these ladies. Just like Khan, she's hit the ball really well. It's just been a few funny things.
See if she can take advantage of the mistake here. Ball in hand.
Okay, kind of eyeing up what she needs for the 3 to the 4. 4 being a little covered up by the 5, but not too bad.
Khan, a big fan of Allison Fisher and Simning Chin.
Yeah, she's, Allison, considered maybe the greatest
female to ever play, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jean Belucas, of course, didn't get to play as many tournaments as Allison, but Allison really showed us what she could do when she came over. But, yeah, Siming Chin, I tell you, when I watch her play, she plays aggressive like the men do.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive to watch.
What kind of influences do you have coming up in the game? Just players that you either, took things from their game or you just were inspired by?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I first started, I was in high school, and a friend of mine that I worked at the pizza restaurant with, we always used to play poker on Friday nights, and he played pool. And so he took me to the game room, and he hustled me. And but I was raised playing cards and stuff in our family. A lot of kids in our family, 6 kids, so we always played games and cards and different things. And my dad, was around a little gambling in his life as well. So it's kind of I got a little hooked from the gambling part of it.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that you could play pool at levels like that. I really honestly thought it was a game that, you waited on a bowling alley, a bowling lane,
right.
like, you're waiting on a bowling lane. You either go play a video game or a game of pool to pass the time. And so those two really interest me. But then I was really lucky because I was in the Houston area, and there were so many great players. Buddy Hall lived there at the time. Gabby, a great player. Just every road player that was through there, I used to always just go get to watch really fantastic pool at a high level. And the one that helped me the most, though, Jersey Red, Jack Brett, who's a legendary player from the Moscone era.
Okay.
And a class act. And I'll tell you, I've always been the type that like to hear the older guys. And it didn't matter if it was pool or if they were a champion at something else years ago. You know, it's like the charisma was so nice.
Yeah.
So fun to be around. I think that's probably another thing that I really got hooked on. So, and of course, pool lingo. You know, the pool verbiage. It's pretty good stuff. Okay, gonna overrun a little bit here, but maybe play a 5-9 in the side. But I was always, you know, I always played sports. Pretty good athlete. You know, and another thing that I didn't realize how competitive and how much of a sport the game is. And once you realize that helped a lot too.
Yeah.
Okay, she's looking at try to play the 5-9 combo and kind of hide the cue ball maybe behind the 7. A bit of a two-way shot with a safety and a offensive shot in mind as well. Tell you what, pretty impressed with this lady though. Her stroke is pretty good, nice and aggressive, straight. You can tell by all the long ones she's made. Taking a bit more time because she knows this is a crucial game here at 3-1 down, trailing, only going to 5. Okay, so you could see how much emphasis she was trying to put on the cue ball to get it behind that 7. So probably took a little accuracy away from the 9 ball on the side. Now I think Teresa, she's just got to level out and roll this ball in softly, trying to hold the cue ball for some position on the 7. She could elevate here and jack up and try and draw the ball, but I don't think that's necessary. Okay, she's going to elevate. I don't blame her either. Oh, she hit it great. She hit it great.
Well, we've talked about how good Cons look, but Teresa has capitalized on every opportunity.
Well, Con, you know, she's in San Francisco, so good chance she's around some good players. But I know for sure that Teresa's around a lot of good players in Houston.
Yeah.
You know, she helps run some pretty big events over there as well.
I think she actually works with our league operator down there, Roger Schuett, one of our league operators in that area.
Yeah, she does, and there's always a lot of tournaments that bring a lot of great players to Houston. And then again, we talked about her boyfriend, longtime boyfriend.
Ernesto, former U.S. amateur champion, Ernesto Bayawa.
Yeah, and really a guy that can play at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
So she's constantly learning. And
I was surprised to learn Ernesto didn't qualify for this year's event. That's how great the level of competition has gotten here.
Oh, yeah.
Former champion that couldn't quite make it all the way here. So.
Okay, big cut on the 9 here to the upper left corner to get on the hill at 4-1. Yeah, he told me about it. I saw him yesterday at the hotel. Told me he lost in the finals to pretty good player, Chris Young, I think it was, from back in Houston. So hopefully Chris will make it over here.
Keep our eye on him in the tournament.
Yeah, him and his brother both are really good players.
Teresa cuts that 9 in the corner. She is on the hill, leading 4-1. Needs just one big game to advance in the winner's bracket.
Yeah, we're doing 90-minute intervals here, so next match will be at 2:30.
2:30 round.
Yeah.
Of course, we mentioned we've got a couple other matches being live streamed on our YouTube channel. No commentary with those, so you won't hear the sweet sounds of Double J and myself. But if you have some other players you're trying to follow, you can check our YouTube channel, see if you can catch them. Not exactly sure who's on those tables at the moment, but continue on with that throughout the weekend here. So we should have, at most times, 3 matches being live streamed. Make sure I thank our sponsors, our friends at PoolDog.com, Valley Dynamo, Aramith Pool Balls, and Action Cues. Appreciate all their support. Teresa with the break looks pretty open.
Yeah, she's
that one might be a little.
I think she's got a shot at the one. I think she does. Yeah, and it's one that she'll have to slow roll a little bit to hold position on the 4. She made 2 on the break, so nice break off there. She could draw this, try to draw it, but from that distance, I kind of like just rolling this in and taking the little longer shot on the 4. Because you could hit it well with a draw and it kind of get away from you and maybe get up behind the 5, or I think just a light top English stroke here.
We mentioned at the outset, but all the tables played on here at the U.S. Amateur Championship, 9-foot tables. Got a question about that from one of our viewers.
Okay, so that upper left-hand corner denying that one ball, even though it was struck pretty decent. And so kind of now or never for Miss No. And I haven't been to San Francisco in such a long time. I can't recall which players I would think are up there helping this young lady with her game. Used to be a couple Canadian guys that Big Bernie, he was a great player. And I know he does a bit of teaching. Okay, funny little shot right here, especially when you're talking about being some 4 or 5 feet away with the cue ball. So keep it pretty simple here, I think. She could try to draw it back for the 5 on the side. And she hit it really well. I've really been impressed with the longer shots. And the lady's got a super straight stroke.
Kind of do or die time here for Kahn. And Teresa needs just one more game.
And pockets are tough. And with all the play, as the days go on, they'll get even more difficult, even though they keep them in really good condition. Every time you rent the balls, they're all clean. Clean the tables after each table's rented and turned in. Now, obviously, the 5 ball is going to be pocketed in the corner. She's trying to figure out what type of position she wants on the 6, either in that corner by the 7 or in the side pocket. This is a good chance to end this match right here, Teresa. And the carbon fiber has really taken over as far as the shafts. It seems like there's a lot of great shafts out there, but man, I walked into this room on Sunday and every day I've seen.
Everyone had one?
Pretty much, yeah. I think she can cheat this in the side and go to the rail with a little top spin and get over for a cut on the 7. Can't baby it, though. You got to put a little speed on this one. Oh, she cut it all the way down, so the side pocket wasn't very available. Okay, so she's got to go up table with the cue ball here, Jason. So she's got to worry about a few corner pockets, no scratches, and the 9 ball coming back down. Yeah, she's going to run into the 8, and this may impede her getting at the 7. It's real close. I can tell by a little gesture there that probably doesn't have shape. Maybe a curve shot here. Yep. I think one of the prettiest shots in pool is the little masse. She's trying to make a decision is the Mass 8 really worth it? I mean, I can go to the bottom rail and definitely hit the 7. Maybe come across it and send the cue ball up table and leave the 7 on the back rail, something like that. Like that was happening, just a little more speed where the cue ball goes further and the 7 comes over a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interesting that Teresa's a lefty, so she can reach this to bank it or cut it. I wouldn't be surprised if she cuts it. Maybe tries to run the cue ball into the 8, something like that. Well, she's aiming a little thicker, so this is either a safety or a bank shot back where she's standing. Okay, no, really good speed, actually, like perfect. I think she definitely got the snooker here, and not the easiest of hits if she's got a kick at the ball. Oh, she can get the top piece of it. So most likely not going to get the snooker here, but going to try and leave her long distance away. And just kind of put the cue ball down on that rail and make Teresa come from some 6-7 feet away.
Yep. Could be it here.
It's a tough angle, though. See, the thing is, when you have an angle going away, you see the angle's kind of sending the cue ball away from the 8. If she makes the 7 in the lower right. When you have that, you want a lot of angle. That way it's easy to go over and back. When you have this angle that's sending you away, but it's not that much, well, it's very hard. You have to apply a lot of speed to the cue ball to send it over to the left side of the table and then back over to the right.
Yeah.
So it's either like you want the proper angle going towards the 8, or you want to, if it's going away from it, you want a little bit more angle so cue ball movement becomes easy, or easier anyways. Okay. And that was just a tough shot. That's just all there is to it. And we'll see another long one here. And she's made every one of the long ones. She made about 4 of them, I think. Oh, just rattled
that one a little bit, though.
Still hit it pretty darn well overall, I think. Okay, so this should be top right English, trying to cheat the 7. You kind of shoot the 7 to the right part of the pocket. That way you can get to the left side rail and then follow 2 rails towards the 8. She could draw off of this ball, but it takes a lot of power. That top English can really help you in these situations. And that's another thing that, you know, these ladies and the guys we're going to see this week, they're some of the best amateurs that are out there. So, but other amateurs don't realize sometimes when the ball's near the pocket, you don't have to hit it to the center of the pocket. You can hit it to other parts of the pocket to try and maneuver the cue ball a little easier. And a lot of times, okay, she tried to go rail first. Wasn't a bad effort, just missed the ball. But a lot of times some amateurs really feel like, oh, you really got to hit it to the center, or don't want to cheat it to help cue ball movement. But that's when you do want to take advantage of them when they're hanging. Okay, a little light, but still pretty good, pretty natural. No, it's actually pretty perfect. She'll come 1 rail across and play the 9 in the side. No reason to draw the ball here. Just top English should come, you know, kind of across the spot area for the 9 in the right side pocket.
Pockets that 8 in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
A 9 in the side. She staves off Teresa Garland, at least for now.
Yeah, it's
Trails by just 2 games.
just like any other sports. Hard to get that first game, hard to get that last.
Yeah. She's just got to keep fighting. And while the ladies prepare for the next rack, we'll mention again our friends at PoolDog.com with a nice offer on a low deflection shaft. Their new Summit shaft, available for just $134. Great value if you're looking for a new low deflection shaft, a shaft that's a little more forgiving than maybe what you have now. Comes with a Kamui Clear soft tip, and they've got that available now. And there's 60-day guarantee on it, satisfaction guarantee. So kind of a risk-free investment. Either you get it and it works for you, or you get it and it doesn't and you send it back. So Kahn with the break there.
Yeah, and we'll see if she wants to stay offensive with possibly a bank, a long rail bank on the 2. Otherwise, probably just edge the 2 over, maybe to the center of the end rail, something like that, and let the cue ball run up. You got a lot of blockers that way with the 3 and the 5 and the 9, possibly the 6. Okay, she's going to chip the 2 and put the cue ball on the side rail and the 2 back underneath on the other side rail like that, yeah. And, you know, when you talk about pool, and people have asked this question a million times, and I've been asked a lot, what do you think the differences are, you know, with the ladies and the men, you know?
Right.
And you know, it's the type of sport that you don't feel like the women are handicapped in any kind of way, meaning strength,
Right.
Thought process, you know, their build or whatnot. But the only thing I can really ever put my hands or, you know, kind of think about what it really is just the aggressive mentality, maybe.
Interesting.
You know, I kind of like, you're a sports guy, and it seems like to me all the people that end up great players at anything, they always were aggressive. You know, like, you know, I think maybe at times that's the only thing that I can really pinpoint that and not all ladies,
So
but
you're saying favoring the safety play over maybe the
yeah,
the
or
risky shot
yeah,
kind of thing, yeah.
and just an aggressive mentality when learning as well, not just when trying to win, but when learning the game.
It's interesting you mentioned that. You know, we've talked a lot about the Mosconi Cup. Obviously, you're the vice captain. We're going to talk a lot about it this weekend. But one of the things that I noticed last year, one of the big differences with Team USA that I had not seen in the past several years was exactly what you're talking about. They were going for the more aggressive shot making as opposed to the safety play, which, you know, a lot of times those Europeans, man, they can find a path to the ball one way or another.
Absolutely.
And it just seemed like last year that the guys were a little more aggressive in that regard. I don't know if you saw the same thing, but, you know, from my perspective, it was definitely noticeable.
No, for sure. And we talk, you know, you talk about that in pool, you learn it, you know. You know, if the safety's just as hard as the shot, you know, but that's a little more of an amateur way of thinking at times, you know, where pros you make a real clear-cut decision, and, you know, you're more precise not only on your execution but your decisions. But, yeah, we wanted the guys to be aggressive and put it in their hands a little bit more.
I mean, I felt like I saw guys pull out the jump cue a little more often.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Tyler made some
huge
big ones.
jump shot in that first win for you guys.
Yeah, more than one, actually.
Skyler with some big jump shots.
Yeah.
Down the stretch.
And the thing I saw about the guys is they, you know, kind of were looking to be aggressive too.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait to be aggressive. Like
Nice.
You know, they were very confident in doing so. You know. Okay, a little safety here, and I think that's pretty good speed on the object ball. It's going to give up a bit of a jump shot if Teresa wants to attempt that, or a kick that's very hittable. We'll see. I kind of think she's going to go to the jump cue myself. Yeah, well, just bringing up the Mosconi again. I'm thinking about it again. I just really can't wait. I think, again, the level of pool is going to be extremely high.
Oh, yeah.
Expect a close match, of course, with the U.S. on top.
I'm really interested in seeing the crowd and kind of how, because the last few years, even in the U.S., it was very pro-European.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Team USA's got another victory, it's been almost a decade since they'd won the last one.
Yeah.
Whether or not it'll be a more even crowd or how it'll play out, it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and, not quite as much as before, but the Americans weren't quite as vocal, of course, as the Euros. So.
Oh, they got all the chants, and I mean, they are very creative in that regard, I will say.
And so it could be a little skewed where you hear the Euros a little more than.
They get into it, the costumes and things.
Yeah, we know a few of them that are on a road trip for like they flew in 3 days ago, and they're driving all over the U.S. and then heading back to Vegas for the Moscone to end their trip. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So they take holidays, for this, for the Moscone.
Yeah, if it's not an event you've had a chance to see, highly recommended. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more exciting, at least in terms of the environment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something else.
Yeah, and every match kind of has its own little story. Not like drama or anything, but just.
Oh, there's drama.
There is drama, but I'm saying it unfolds quickly.
Sure.
It's not a 3-hour football game you have to wait.
It's fast.
It's fast, and it's intense from the get. And
buckle up when it starts.
It's kind of what it should be, I guess. Okay, so I think she needs to be aware of not elevating herself over the 9 here because she's got to shoot this. Yeah, that's what I would have been worried about right there, is being real aware she's got to shoot the 6 in the corner. But you can handle a little angle on the 6 just as long as you're not over. We call it being up in the trees. When you get jacked up over a ball like that, very difficult to be accurate. But I'll tell you, the young lady's got a straight stroke, so I wouldn't doubt she knocks this one right on in. A little on the left side. So another prime opportunity for Teresa Garland to get a W. A little stretched. I know, and Teresa, she loves this game so much. She loves pool. She just loves playing it. She's been playing it for some time now, and has become much more competitive in the last 5 or 6 years, really trying to play more tournaments and improve her game. Now she needs that to slow down a little. It's going to go a little far. So now she knows she's going to have to work the cue ball up the table and then back down for the 8. There's enough angle there, Jason, but she's going to have to apply some speed to this cue ball. Yeah, she'll probably shoot the 7 in the side, trying to come up one rail, kind of diving off of it, then using right English to bring her back like this, like a low right English, something like that. Sorry for my not so straight lines. Okay, she went with left English, so she did the same thing, let it dive, but then used a running English, so very good there.
Great shot.
Yeah, very good control as well. And sometimes when I watch Teresa, because I've watched her several times play back home, and at times she can baby the ball a little too much. So when she lets out that stroke, nice medium, sweet stroke, she hits the ball real well. And this has been some time since I've seen her play, so, with the results she's been having not only here and back home, I think she's got a lot of it shored up.
I think she's got a W under her belt here, Jeremy.
Well, she's
a lady, 9 ball.
She's a lady that carries a lot of tournament experience. Yeah. So even if she may end up being an underdog in a match here in the today or tomorrow, I think she can fight through it.
Pockets that 9 ball and the victory. She'll move on the winner's side. Con No will move to the 1-loss side of the bracket, but again, double elimination, so we've not seen the last of her just yet. She'll have another opportunity, and we will be back. Looking at the clock here, 2:15. So we got about 15 minutes. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with more action here at the Women's U.S. Amateur Championship. So be sure you come back and join us. Thanks for tuning in.